These are the collectible
Hey,
things.
yeah, that is. It's a kitty. It's a crypto kitty. Oh, I don't have any
Oh,
stick now. I feel under stickered. I need to get some
mhm.
stickers ASAP. How goes it, everybody? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today's Bitcoin accessory, we're going to be talking about the Casa at Casa Hado on Twitter. Check it out. And today we're here with Aline. Oh, at Alina Satoshi, Mrs. Satoshi on Twitter over there for Nova. How goes it?
How goes it? Thanks for having me, Ken.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat and
Yeah.
kind of update us on what's going on over at Casa and what we can
Mm.
expect in the future. So why don't you go ahead and do a quick introduction if you don't mind? I love starting off with how people first got into crypto. You never know who got
Okay.
in from Silk Road or gambling or how does it just?
Or,
It's always a crazy story. So how'd you get in?
I was doing some drug trafficking and child porn. No, I'm
Oh, that
kidding.
makes total
Uh,
sense. That's exactly how I got into Bitcoin, and we must have ran into each other somewhere before. I knew you were familiar.
oh no. Well, that would be, I think, exciting for you, or for the headline. But
Right, exactly. That's
it's
the
actually
mainstream
much more.
media. That's all they need, right?
Yeah, it's actually much more boring, even I would say academical, because my interest in alternative form of money was there because I was studying monetary policy and geopolitics and diplomacy, and my thesis was about finding an alternative to petrodollar
Oh,
and euro and the non-functioning fiat currency system that we have. Um, and so I was looking into, alternative forms of money and local currencies and let systems and uh, the project of special drawing rights by IMF. And then voila, I found Bitcoin. And
it
that
sounds like
was
you were training to be a fiat terrorist.
no, I was trying to understand why our financial ecosystem is just not working well, why it's failing, and where's the problem. And so I kind of understood the money is the power tool, and whoever controls the issuance of money controls how the world turns. And realizing that one country can issue international money, which is supported by global markets, and that you could issue unlimited amount of that money and run huge debts, just brought me to thinking, okay, how can we do it better? And that's how Bitcoin came about. So it was really, really boring research that came to exciting results for me.
Well, that's part of the rabbit
Yeah.
hole when you get into crypto. You kind of figure out how actual fiat or money works, and that's kind of what makes you even more inspired to figure out how to
Hmm.
fix it or what can we do differently because you realize how broken. The more
Yeah.
we learn, the more I learned about the dollar, the more I learned how broken it was, and it was like one of those perpetual motion machines that were just eventually going to come to a grinding halt. And that's what it kind of inspired me to keep looking into crypto as an alternative with proof of work and the open ledger, immutable, censorship resistance, and the whole disruptiveness really appealed to me about it. So I'm just curious, like, how did you get inspired to start the Treasure Hardware Wallet project? And maybe you could
Uh-huh.
explain a little bit about the legacy behind that story.
Yeah, so the attempt to build a hardware wallet was before we started Trezor and before my guys met in over one table to discuss the hardware wallet. There were a few people that tried to do it. One of them was some German professor, and he gave some talk about the hardware wallet, probably in 2012 or even 2011. And then Slush and Stick, my future co-founders of Satoshi Labs, they realized at one point that yeah, but nobody actually brought it to a point where it would be a working end user product, right? So they set out for this goal and decided that they will think about the design and architecture, and they actually had great skills, like the combination of Slush, who is a Bitcoiner. He built the first mining Bitcoin mining pool
Oh wow.
and Stick/pool in 2010. And Stick, he's a cryptographer, he's a hardware tinkerer, so they had very good complementary set of
A
skills.
lot of
And
synergy.
and and me, I came with my set of skills, which was building businesses, and doing marketing and relationships and all the other boring stuff that developers don't want to do, right? So yeah, that was. But the idea of a offline hardware device that would make it easy to secure crypto for non-technical audience was older. It just never really happened on a big scale.
Yeah, I'm just happy it wasn't like a VCR sized thing, like early tech was just so bulky. When I feel like when we look back, like when we were just talking earlier about the Finny phone and it has like the hardware wallet built right into the phone. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like how like the media player in my wall, like I have music on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like when I look at a hardware wallet now, it's almost like looking at a Walkman back in the 90s. Like everything's just gonna get built into my phone eventually, even a
It's
hardware
possible.
wallet. It's insane. But
It
this
is.
is how bougie, this is the bougie lifestyle my treasure wallet lives in right here. It lives in this
Oh,
genuine leather, beautiful leather case, and then it's in one of these extra little beautiful leather cases right here.
are you kidding me?
So this is
Really?
from Crypto HW Wallet. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that was like one of the most popular sites to get a hardware wallet back in the day.
Okay. Do you want to see my case for my hardware wallet? Okay, here it is. This is my new case.
Oh, that's right. You've got those. Can you explain a little bit about the tech behind that? Because that's not just like a
So
regular little purse.
it's not a purse. It's a Faraday bag. I'll try to open and get get my hardware. Actually, I have more hardware wallets inside right now. Uh, but basically, inside the fabric, there's some metallic wire, and it should shield off some electromagnetic impulses and stuff like that. You can typically these would be used for keys. You can yeah, I tested it on my phone. It doesn't receive any calls anymore when it's inside. So we designed this together with Silent Pocket to fit exactly one or two hardware wallets. It should be for one because when you have a multi-sig with several hardware wallets distributed in different locations, you want each of them to be protected with something like that. One of the reasons is because we do not play with recovery seeds.
Yeah.
We
Well,
just we
multisig isn't really common on many devices. I mean, I wish it was more common, but then again, I don't know if it opens up more user error, like risk to reward, security
Mhm.
benefits. Like I don't know if the mainstream or the population is ready yet for the responsibility of
For the
multisig,
paper
or if they
for the
need it, I don't know.
Well, people who are aware of the value of their holdings, I think they will take the extra steps, and we just try to make it as easy as possible without all the technicalities that you would have normally have to go through if you set it up yourself. Um, and the fact that we do have hardware wallets with some recovery seats, or even like mobile wallets or any other wallets, when you set it up, you get a paper, right? Or you
Yeah.
should have a paper with. That is a huge
Or a really good
responsibility.
memory. A really, really good memory.
That's even worse. In my case, that would be a lost lost case in upfront. Um, we came up with security measures that are awesome because now you have a piece of paper that anytime it's like that, it's the golden key to your crypto kingdom. It's the magic wand that you use to recreate, your money if you lose the mobile
I
phone
hope
or
that the magic word would be like nimble wimble, just to keep it going with the cryptoness.
well, yeah. So we have that, and it's amazing, but it creates a huge burden on like people. not knowing whether to, take a picture with their phone and store it on the cloud
Right.
in case, or should they do copies, or should they divide them and put into multiple places. And so imagine you have that for one of your wallets, right? You should probably have that for your mobile phone
Well, what's
wallet.
the most secure way for somebody who's just starting to get into crypto to secure their cryptocurrency without going through too many hardships?
Probably getting a hardware wallet, like a single key approach, right? That's the starter. But I would say, because you set it up and you have this recovery seed, you may create, you could shoot yourself in the foot with the security measure, right? So that's why we came up with a seedless setup. And who would think that, burning the recovery seed would actually make you more secure, right?
It's
But
interesting.
it's an interesting thought, but it works in a multi-sig setup, because in a multi-sig setup, when you have a 3 of 5, for example, you need 3 keys of total of 5 to move the funds. So if you lose one of the 5 keys, right, you have 4, you still have enough keys to move the funds. Even if you lose 2 keys at the same time, which is unlikely, providing you use this multi-location setup, right? But even if that happens, you still have 3 keys out of the 5 to move the funds to a new multi-sig setup. So you never actually touch the recovery seed. You don't need it. So why storing it, right?
And having
Especially
three
if
out of five, it kind of disincentivizes collusion. Like you would have to get 3 out of 5 people that you've trusted, whether it be banks or custodians, to collude against you.
that's true as well. You can use the multi-sig as for one person. So you can have different locations, which enhances your overall physical security. There's less chance that 2 or 3 of the places burn down
Right.
simultaneously. There's little chance that someone will get into your, for example, office or your lawyer, or like those are public spaces surveilled by cameras. So if you're a criminal trying to get onto all those keys, you are likely to be caught on camera, right?
And
So
it takes away the honeypot problem. Nobody's going to try to, take a hammer to your head and say, "Give me your money." It's not. I don't have it all. It's spread out.
it's spread
I
out.
spread out that key. So now you have to go grab 3 other people if you want my money.
Yep. Yes, exactly. So these, and also diversification of the risk in terms of not just having one location, or not just having a single point of access, right? But also having different providers of hardware. Okay. And in multi-sig, you can do that. We have one key on the mobile phone, and our clients have a combination of ledgers and trezors. We do want to add more hardware wallets in the future. We're researching that quite actively. So if you know of any good ones, send them over.
Cool
Uh,
Wallet and EliPal. They're about the two I would probably recommend.
hmm, hmm. But I think we're looking into to call. Did you say Cool Wallet? The
The credit card one.
yes. It
Yep.
looks like this. Right. They do branded versions for other companies or OEM. So I just got this secure wallet.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, they're hooking me up with a couple custom ones with my own logo on them, so I can give them away to some of my
Yeah,
viewers.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's pretty
Yes,
cool.
yes. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
I
that's a
don't
good
I
so you
wasn't
spread out the risk though across multiple devices because a lot of people don't really understand that hardware wallets still are at risk of attack vectors. They I don't know if Treasure was ever one that was hacked, but I feel like Ledger and KeepKey they have been hacked for their bounties once or twice in early 2016 and 17.
So all of them have been have had some discoveries, right, of vulnerabilities. The key point here is how realistic those attack vectors are, and whether they pose an actual like systemic threat or actual
Right.
threat to people. So some it is good that actually these vulnerabilities get uncovered and responsibly disclosed and fixed. That's good. It's good to see when hardware wallet producers do update
Yep.
firmware quite often. It's not a bad thing. Some people are scared to update the firmware. Do not be scared to do that because it's usually bringing something good for you.
Or what
Right?
like what used to worry me when I got my first hardware wallet was I had to do a firmware update and then I did it and it said, "All right, insert your private keys all over again." And I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" Like all I did was update you. Why do I have to put my keys back in? And then I immediately worried like what if I lost my keys and I had my wallet but it had a mandatory
Yeah.
firmware update. So like it
Mm,
almost it almost like counters itself in,
I know. I know.
yeah.
Um, there is, there's other risks than just this. You may lose one your soul and one and only backup that you have, for example, or you may not lose that, but forget a passphrase, you
That's
know,
true too. Yeah.
that you create on top of it.
I think
So
that's BIP 138. The BIP 138 encryption on top of the private key. So yeah, you don't want to
That
lose that.
the bit 38 is
Oh,
an
38.
encryption with a passphrase on top of the private key, and then you have bit 39, which defines the recovery seed vocabulary uh, that has been adopted throughout many wallets. Not all of them, but a lot of them are bit 39 compatible. So if you have that, you could potentially restore in some other wallet provider, right?
Depending on
But
yeah,
you
who
don't want to,
supports it.
but it is a great tool, but it's really onerous and it's really not what people are used to. So like teaching them about Bitcoin, why they should want and love Bitcoin, and then teaching them that now you have to be this sovereign individual, but that comes with a lot of burden. So we need to make sure that we take off the burden of people and we do not violate certain like basic principles of Bitcoin, such as holding key ownership, right? That
Right.
is important. So that's what we're trying to build at Casa. Provide service and tools and hold your hand if you want to, but not hold your keys ever.
I like
If
that.
that makes sense,
I feel like
right?
I should put that in my Tinder profile. I just want you to hold my hand, not my keys.
I trademark that.
Yeah, now you might want to.
Do I get royalties?
If the t-shirts sell, I definitely got you. We're gonna have to talk to Bit Ninja Supply. He sells all my swag. That is hilarious. So yeah, why don't we dive into Casa a little bit and maybe touch on like what Casa does, what service it
Mhm.
provides, and the role
Okay.
that Casa plays in the industry today.
We provide sovereignty as a service. New as SaaS
It sounds like
model.
a cult.
It sounds like a what?
It sounds like a cult.
It's it is what I told you just right now. We have some technology, but we need service in the space, and we need some user friendly uh, face to the technology, to the hardcore tech that we're building.
Yeah.
And Casa builds that. Uh, what we like to say, we want a key master, which is our application, our mobile app. We want a key master in every pocket and a Casa node in every home. And with these are two major components to what we think needs to be built, or two major conditions that we need to meet in order to build this decentralized future and these more secure, resilient systems that we're building. And it all started with Bitcoin, right? But it basically comes down to how well we can manage our private keys, how sustainably can we do that, and how user friendly the interface is. That's all. And the nodes, Casa node, basically today it's a little box. I have one here just for showing off. This is how it looks. It's basically a Raspberry Pi with with some cables that go around.
It's
It's very,
adorable. I love it.
it's adorable, and it has a very user-friendly interface where you basically can run a Bitcoin full node and the Lightning Network
All on the one device?
on the one device with the very like plug and play experience, right? So what you can do, you can build your own node, right, and run Bitcoin and run Lightning Network, but it was just for nerds. And I thought like if we want to make the system more resilient and build up the Lightning Network for fast and cheap transactions and microtransactions, right? Then we need to kind of step up the game and make sure that there is a node device that runs all the time, because you cannot run lightning channels without being constantly online. So it's very impractical to run this on some computer that you're carrying around, right?
I don't think it's too far-fetched to have the goal of having one of those in every home. I mean, if you look at today, everybody has one of those, like, I think if you Google it or Amazon search or eBay, it's called like a Dragon box. I got some off-brand of an off-brand, but basically it's a box about the size of the Casa, and it's for streaming content that you don't really want to pay for. It's like a giant cloud that you like link into, and you can just watch a bunch of movies other people pirate it. So I ain't downloading any of the movies. I'm just clicking play, you know, like I'm just play, that's it.
Gotcha.
But that, like, you know, nobody had those before. They would just go to Blockbuster or, you know, and I look at that and I think of like torrenting files and sharing files and like being your own media server. And everybody's their own media server pretty much today. All my friends' parents are like learning how to, like, you know, program Android apps in the background so they can like unlock channels for free. This is like another way to incentivize it. So like, what are some of the benefits for an end user to have a Casa Hada like in their house?
So, first of all, to be a fully sovereign hodler, okay, because that's our end goal, the sovereignty made easy, right? If you want to be a sovereign Bitcoiner, you should not rely completely on other third-party services. You should route your own payments, right? You should do that.
I mean, it's like,
That's one
yeah, it's
thing.
one more step of being your own bank. It's taking more personal responsibility.
Exactly like this. When you have this, you are the backbone of a new global decentralized payment network, right? You are running
Yeah,
uh,
you're
all,
contributing more than
so
you're taking
you
when you
you're
run that.
you're providing some computational space, right? To some decentralized network. So that's the first benefit. And the second benefit is scaling, helping to scale the Bitcoin network via Lightning. And maybe a tertiary, like in the end, benefit, hopefully some minor fees that you can receive for routing payments, right? I think today it's very insignificant, but it could be some decent money in the future. I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't take my
I mean,
word for it.
just 9 years ago till today, you know, those satoshis have exponentially gained value in, you know, fiat currency. So either Bitcoin has gone up or fiat has gone significantly down, and it adds up. So I mean, running a Lightning channel and making some, you know, a sub satoshi here and there adds up to a satoshi or two. That I mean, everybody is excited for Bitcoin to go to $1 million, a Satoshi to be
Yep.
$1, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. I think 17 million is in supply or so right now, and about 3 to 4 million
Almost
Bitcoin
18.
are pretty much lost to the abyss of the blockchain. So there's only ever so much Bitcoin left, and even if like all the Hiltons and Paris Hilton's family wanted to get one of those Bitcoin, there ain't enough to go around. There's not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire. It just there isn't.
That is very true. That is very true, and that's why, except for being a part of the network and contributing and being more and more self-sustainable and sovereign, you should also make sure that you don't lose those satoshis, right? And for that, we are providing the Keymaster app which is an application. I don't know if I can try to show you. Um, that allows you for easy visual multi-sig, setting up your own multi-sig. This is some testing
I
environment
th-
for
I
me.
think the
So
first use I'd have for multi-sig is like my kid's allowance if I had one. That is a nice interface.
uh-huh.
You could get like
It's very visual. You have right now. I'm just testing this one, so I set up the mobile key and the Casa key, recovery key set up, and then I will continue to add, some hardware wallets to the 305, and then it also has a. Sorry for this presentation, but it also has a simple hot wallet, a mobile wallet, mobile key on your phone, so you can have some small money, small
but
pocket money
so
on the
in
phone.
order to use that small money, you wouldn't have to get three transaction signatures. So the
No,
multi-sig
no,
would be
no.
for the other account.
Yeah, imagine this is a key manager. Okay, this is not a wallet. It allows you to create different key sets. You can have a single sig, okay, or you can have a multi sig. And for the multi sig, we offer either a 2 of 3 or a 3 of 5. Okay, the 2 of 3 is quite simple because you basically, as a user, you use your mobile phone and one hardware wallet. The third key is with Casa. It's a recovery key.
So as long as you have your phone or your hardware wallet, you're good to go.
Yeah. So what you, in the case of 2 of 3, when you want to send out money, you just create a transaction in your mobile phone in the Keymaster app, and then you come to your email because you receive an email request to sign with your hardware wallet. You plug in your hardware wallet, boom, done. Okay, if you lose one of these, you have Casa to call. We help you set up a new, and move your funds. We never co-sign live transactions. We do not do live co-signing, just emergency recovery. And in the case of 305, you just have more hardware wallets distributed in more locations or towards more people. We also have a multi-user account, so you can have a family involved, or your lawyer, or your wealth manager, or
So
whoever.
that's what I was going to get at is we're talking about the retail investor, the mom and pops and the average investors that are getting into this
Yeah.
space. But I feel like this serves more of a bigger purpose when it comes to on-ramping the institutional investors because they need more responsibility delegation. They need to be able to delegate some of the
Yes.
responsibility they have because they're managing, if they're hedge fund managers or brokers, they're
Mm.
managing multiple people's accounts. So they're handling one of 50 multi-sigs because they have 50 customers or employees or whatever. So now they're, needing to manage multiple multi-sigs
Yes.
because of this. So I think this is actually going to help ease a lot of the institutional investors' minds when they're
Yeah.
looking for solutions for like personal custodial services instead of like
Mm.
external third-party custodial services.
This is designed, originally it was designed for like individuals, right? Hodlers. But actually it is designed so that, you can operate with this as being, a part of a family office, or a manager of a company that just, does different kinds of investments, some hedge fund, whatever. You don't have to have technical expertise, and you don't have to worry about recovery seeds or stuff like that. You don't even have to worry about the usual security hygiene that a Bitcoiner should do, right? Such as making sure that you know your access codes here and there, making sure that your hardware wallets work, making sure that you have like pins and password managers in a correct place and safely stored and generated. All this is done for you, or with you, with a dedicated client advisor by Casa. So this is something, that we try to educate our
How hard was
users.
this? It just like blows my mind that like nobody else is doing this. Like I have like 50 apps on my phone. I have like 10 wallets and nobody
Yeah.
really has any multi-sig set up. Like why haven't we seen any adoption in the wallets today that are supporting this It's really important for mass
That's a
adoption. Why is
great
nobody doing it but
That's
you?
a great question. Because it's not very trivial thing to do technically speaking. So setting up a multisig, just thinking about what kind of multisig, what kind of key set do you want? Do you want a 1 of 5, a 3 of 6, like what is good for you? So we spend a lot of time just thinking about the best the key sets, the numbers, and then setting it up and maintaining the multi-sig and making sure you have, for example, if you choose a 3 of 5, then you have 5 devices and 5 recovery seats. Each should be in a different place and location that's secure. That's like, it is, multi-sig is undoubtedly, like, by far the one of the absolute must, security components to your setup. It is, but it has to be easy and it has to be done right. So we take away, the worries about doing all this technical maintenance and thinking about those things. So we just streamline that through a simple tap on the screen, right? And this is I don't know why nobody has taken like a bigger move towards there. There was Copay. Copay, I think, was
Yeah, but
good.
it was all right, but it was like, I ain't gonna lie, it was kind of half-assed. There was like in beta, it was like a permanent beta attempt. They never really went farther than that, but it was cool of like
Yes,
an attempt.
yeah, it was a good attempt. I mean, they at least had a better user interface already, like just the graphic design. It helps. It helps. If you're not getting lost, it's good. Um, Casa realized, we realized that in order to build all these decentralized apps and decentralized systems, we need to figure out good key management, and hardware wallets just left you on your own. With your hardware wallet, you're sovereign, but you're on your own. And there was nobody really providing this level of service with that level of understanding and technical support. So we caught the opportunity. We have I think, the best team in the crypto space, but I don't want to sound presumptuous. But
No, you don't want to get them poached either. Be careful.
yes, that's true. That's true. No, we have a stellar team really on every
Oh,
aspect
cool. So
of.
you're with the Stellar project, the Stellar coin
No, no.
content.
A stellar team. That is Casa.
Crypto words
Uh,
are fun. Everything's a coin in crypto land.
Everything's a coin, and we have so much vocabulary that is funny to us, but not funny to
Oh, when I
people.
talk about Lightning to people, they're like, "Oh, what is that, like Bitcoin Cash? Is it another fork?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be a tough
Oh, but
conversation."
that's advanced. I would say Lightning is the cable, right? Lightning is this.
So maybe you could explain that a little bit to the audience. Like, how does Lightning actually work, and how does it contribute for like the on ramping of the mainstream? What role do you see Lightning playing in the future where we have hit mass adoption?
Hmm. Lightning, well, all the claims about Bitcoin being too slow and Bitcoin being too expensive to process small amount transactions are basically solved with the second layer on top that allows for kind of a different bookkeeping, if you will. It basically allows for routing new states of payment. So you have Ken here who sent some money to, I don't know, Elizabeth, right? And it routed through me. So there's just basically change in the book. We have the changes like from Ken to Elena, from Elena to Elizabeth, right? And in the end of the day, I've been routing a billion, transactions through my node. You've been routing a billion transactions through your node. And if you decide to step out of the game, or you just need to close the channel, it just does the final balance. So that's
That is perfect. I feel like my
this makes
takeaway though
sense.
is like my Lightning channel is like a Bitcoin bookie.
Yeah, yeah,
A little bit.
basically. I mean, the magic behind this, I even feel like I insult the the creators and developers with my explanation.
Oh
I
no,
hope
I'm
they will
sure they're
not
just happy
don't kill me.
somebody's. Yeah, they're never gonna come on, and talk about it. That's the problem with the core developers. They don't get on camera to
Uh,
talk about their developments enough.
yeah, well, I cannot talk about it either. I feel like I can't because I do not have the technical understanding. But this is how I would try to explain to my mom. Okay.
No, I got you. I mean, it's the best way to really go about it, as if, you're talking to somebody that doesn't even know how money works, because most people don't. You got to keep things really basic. Otherwise, it sort of comes off intimidating, and then people kind of walk away like, I don't got the time to get that smart. Like everybody kind of gets the feeling when I talk to the average person that you got to pretty much be a rocket scientist to use that Bitcoin thing, or otherwise you're going to really lose your money. I
Yeah.
heard an exchange just got hacked, and well, I mean, if they can lose their money, I can definitely lose my money.
Yeah.
It can be topsy turvy. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on like what it will take to, give the confidence to the mainstream right now that I think the bear market's kind of taken away.
Just have people use it without having to learn about it.
I love it. That's what I've been saying all day on Twitter,
Right.
arguing with people. Thank you.
I mean, education is great. We have to have good resources and everything available, right? But the majority of people just want to use shit. They don't want to go and read. People do not read. Do we like it? No, but let's face it, it's the reality. Okay, so if if it's as simple as clicking a button or swiping left or right, then that's all it takes, right? And
Hmm.
well, the on ramp, that's also a thing. But the on ramp, it's coming. Like, look, it's Cash App. You can buy Bitcoin anytime.
I wish I could receive Bitcoin. Jack needs to update that. All I would need is to receive Bitcoin on the Cash App, and I'd be
Uh-huh.
a happy little puppy. They have the Cash App Visa card,
Hmm.
and we just lost BitPay. We just lost Shift Payments for Coinbase, so there's no more Bitcoin Visa card. Cash App has a real opportunity to fill in a void that just got, pretty much swept out from under our feet.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Apple is going after that, I think,
I
after
think no, they were doing a
the
fiat thing. Like if you use your Visa card or something, the Apple credit card, they give you like cash back. They could have
Mm.
made their own
They,
shitcoin. They totally
oh
missed the
wow.
ball. They could have done Apple Coin and just I like airdropped it everywhere and just but no, they didn't.
Give give me free apps for my app coins, Apple coins.
Well, when I got the Finny phone and I opened it up, there was actually a blockchain operating system app store because there's a built-in
Hmm.
blockchain OS, and there was a bunch of airdrops already in here waiting for me. I got like $20 worth of like random shitcoins just for opening the airdrops up, which is
Hmm.
pretty cool. So I feel like this is just a random
It,
phone. So I feel like in the future, people are just gonna get crypto. Like the new Samsung phone has a wallet built right in, and a lot of Android apps that are coming out, they're going to be full of crypto. You're going to be earning crypto playing most video games. So, what
yeah.
are your thoughts on like non-fungible tokens and the collectibles like world that we're kind of moving forward into? Have you seen like
Mm.
the crypto kitty that sold for $250,000 in New York?
Was it really a
That's the,
special one?
it is now. Somebody spent a quarter
Okay.
million dollars on it. I think that's what
Okay.
makes it special.
Yeah, and so here's the thing, I'm a Bitcoiner, and even Casa is a Bitcoin first, but not Bitcoin only company, because
Respect.
what we see is that, cryptography will be very soon at the heart of a lot of our activity. Why? Because our economic activity has shifted a lot towards the internet environment, and so a lot of our assets that have been um, for example, printed like documents, right? Important documents are now digital. And in order to, safely store any value in digital assets, we will need public key cryptography. And so we will eventually see a lot of valuable assets digitized and bound to public private keys. Um, so it's coming, and that there are challenges in the key management. That's what we want to solve, and then there are these user interface challenges that I'm hoping to see with there's a lot of big names coming in or contemplating crypto. You look at the Cash App, and I'm expecting Square or Twitter to come up
Square,
with
yeah.
something. I mean, Jack Dorsey is a huge fan of Bitcoin and Lightning Network.
Yeah, he just
So
put out like a giant Craigslist hiring tweet where he just basically said, "Who wants to work for me? I got money." So now he's hiring a bunch of developers.
yeah. The question is how the implementation will work out. But I'm quite actually very optimistic for 2019 and 20 going forward, especially seeing what's going on here.
Oh, there's not
So
going to be any more vaporware. There's no room for it anymore. There's no more money for vaporware.
yeah.
Everybody that had money that wanted to invest in vaporware got rid of it in 2018. It's gone. They're broke now.
Uh,
It's a lot of smart money
But
that's left.
But as you say, there will be collectibles, there will be important other digital assets, documents,
Oh yeah,
passwords.
like your car's pink slip, your title to your house. It'll all be put on a blockchain of some sort.
Exactly. So we do expect that, and that's why, we're building what we're building, because everyone will need to make sure. And it's not about just like a safe storage, but also making sure that when I die, I get hit by a bus or something, that
You're
my
predicting
key
you're gonna get hit by a bus. Just look both ways before you cross the street, Alina. Oh my
it
God.
doesn't matter the way I die, one day I will, and I want to make sure that my heirs will get onto those keys, because so here's the thing: when my grandma died, we found a folder, with documents, all the little cards to the bank accounts and all her insurance policies, and everything that kind of had some value and was important was printed in a folder. Where do you find that now? Like, we sign everything online, so
Yeah, you're not gonna
we
in my spam folder and my Gmail probably.
somewhere. So who's gonna open my, I don't know, all my computers and know that, oh, actually she may have had some account here and she may have had some document
So, what are your
there.
thoughts on like things? I think it was called DigiPulse. There was a project I
Mhm.
heard about a while back that like if you didn't interact with your public address for like 30 days or 90 days, it would automatically
Mhm.
send the Bitcoin to another public address, which could be like your lawyer, who then would be able
Yes,
to distribute the funds or something.
it's called the dead man switch.
Yeah, that
uh,
dead man switch. That's gangster.
it is actually, it's a cool feature. If implemented well with other, let's say, security measures, you need to make sure that the person that you are wanting to forward, or that the address is still valid, or that the person still has
You need
power
multiple dead
over
man
the.
switches then. You need the daisy chain dead man
Uh,
switches.
yeah, but you can send your crypto to any address, and you can validate by just checking the address whether the supposed owner actually has access to that.
Well, I'm saying
Like,
if the next person lost access, there's always a next person. It just
oh,
keeps going. It's like
yeah,
squash the
okay.
lemon as a kid on the slide.
Okay. Are you aware that that would actually put those people in danger?
You know what? I was gonna get to that point eventually. Like, well, somebody's
Like,
just gonna come after me, and then they're gonna go after
hmm,
you in the next day.
hmm,
Sorry, I put you in danger. I didn't know Bitcoin was gonna go to $1 million. I thought
yeah.
John McAfee was gonna eat his own peanut. I didn't know.
Jesus, I don't want to sound overly paranoid, but there are certain things that you need to consider even when you set up like a you want a multi-sig.
That's right.
There's some solutions that offer you like a collaborative uh, social multi-sig and advising people to distribute all the keys among friends, right? But now, again, I don't want to be overly paranoid, but what if some of your friends would collude against you, right? And so there are like, when you work in risk management, which I do since 2002, it's 15 years now, you tend to, think of all the absurd and
Well, yeah, you got to be a little
situations.
paranoid and wear a tinfoil
Yes.
hat just to make sure that you're thinking outside the box of a
Mm.
comfort zone. A lot of people live in a comfort zone that becomes, very vulnerable. It's like, sleeping with your window open. You're cool with it until somebody walks through it, and then you never sleep with your window open again.
That's well, if that would be the case, that would be awesome because people would learn from their first mistake.
That's how I learned. Did you ever have any mistakes in Bitcoin where you lost your private keys? Because I've actually done it once or twice, and it was pretty upsetting.
I committed a crime. Okay, it's not it's a
Like
sin.
a Bitcoin party fail.
No, no, no. I volunteered to help to my friend set up his Trezor wallet. And I was telling him like, look, John, this is not a good idea because nobody should be there when you're setting it up and writing down your thing. But because Trezor had like the first version had a very tiny, like very tiny display, and his reading abilities were, yeah, that's the first version too, yeah, and his reading abilities were limited, and so he insisted, and I helped him doing that. But what happened? I messed up the words. So I wrote one of the words incorrectly down. And then I said, okay, you know what? Let's just test a small amount and let's wipe it and let's practice recovery. And then you set up a new one and then you transfer money. But he transferred a substantial amount and he was like, yeah, that's okay. Let's do the wiping test. So we wiped it and we tried to do the recovery and it didn't work.
Oh no.
One of the words was wrong. I started to sweat because this was basically, one of the things that we would advise our customers, like never do this, and then I go and do that because my friend asked me
Well,
for
you didn't
help.
do it. You tried, and that's the thing. People, you can't take the blame for
Yeah.
everybody's life lessons just because you were there to spectate them.
Yeah, but finally I figured out the solution. I took the entire BIP39 vocabulary and I was looking for similar words and I found it. So we recovered. It was like 250 Bitcoin at the time. So,
Oh wow.
but
Yeah.
so, it just illustrates how problematic the recovery seed can be as well, and how good it may be to think of getting rid of it completely because you just write down one of the words incorrectly and you're screwed, or you may be, right?
Yeah, no, that scares the hell out of me. I mean, I don't actually, now I feel like I don't know if I've ever really done a check on every single one of my recovery phrases, but I feel like I
uh,
should go through and do like a double check and make sure I didn't write anything
take,
in any different order or something.
yeah, take a separate, if you have a separate hardware wallet, and try to do a recovery into a new hardware wallet, and if it fails then just set up a new one and transfer the money,
You know
right?
what I always thought was cool about the treasure is you could have two accounts on it, and one was basically like a dummy account. Like you could have two
The
profiles or something.
passphrase, the
Yeah.
passphrase,
So
yeah.
you could put in your second passphrase and open up the second account in case there was ever any
Yes.
issues. Somebody wanted to take your money. You would just type in the dummy account.
It is cool. That's a very cool. This was one of the things we would also advise to do to protect the recovery seed. But at the same time, you now have the recovery seed to protect, and you need to have a good pin, and you need to have at least like two passphrases that you have to remember and not store anywhere. You see where I'm going?
So
It,
you're not a fan of the
it is.
password manager apps that they're on the phones now. They're like LastPass and all the password encrypted manager apps. A lot of people in crypto are starting to use them to actually organize their private keys.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. The reason why is because most of these password managers open with one master password, and the master password effectively being the single point of failure, the gateway to all of your passwords and all of your secrets. You have password managers that work differently, but anything like LastPass, KeyPass, they work on master password. So if you have a keylogger or you have a this snapshot taking virus on your phone as you're typing, boom, there's your
You're
so.
just paranoid. I don't know. That's never gonna happen. It's actually has happened before. I've when I first got into Bitcoin, I remember hearing stories of Ethereum wallets on the Android store stealing private keys
Yeah,
by sweeping the when people were doing a recovery. It was
yeah,
basically key logging everything, and that made me start to worry about using
yeah.
third-party keyboards because a lot of people give up that data so they have predictive text and they can do
Mhm.
autocorrect. And I was talking to John McAfee about this before, and he said the reason he has so many typos is he doesn't believe in predictive text or autocorrect or any kind of keyboard that can memorize or know his habits because those keyboards are logging your data. So, like, you go to recover a wallet on your phone, that third party keyboard company, somewhere in the background, they have that private key seed phrase.
Mhm.
All somebody has to do is create an algorithm that's looking for the pattern of 12 to 24 words in the cryptic dictionary. That's
Yeah,
it. And
yeah.
this is all leading towards my question of what are your thoughts of Coinbase promoting the cloud service of their encrypted private key? Like you can put your private key on your Google Drive, but it's encrypted by Coinbase. Have you heard about that?
It sounds suspicious, at least.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm not saying that cloud service is bad. It's actually good, but you have to upload encrypted stuff that you have encrypted with your own keys that you manage, nobody else, and that were generated in an offline and secure environment that never touched the internet, and that you know that whoever finds your online cloud account just finds some blobs that he cannot decipher,
Right.
right? So I'm not bashing cloud. I'm not praising Coinbase for trying to keep the decryption keys, if
Yeah,
that's the case.
they're trying to make it look like you get to hold your private keys, but at the end of the day, they're the one holding the encryption key. So it's like
Uh-huh.
it makes no sense. It's just another attack vector for a honeypot scenario. Now
Hmm.
people are going to be looking at Google Drives, and that's I worry a lot about people that screenshot their private keys and put it on Google Photos.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Hmm.
you give Google Photos all of those photos, that they're
Yeah.
legally entitled to look at those pictures. And you're
Yes.
screenshotting your private key and basically handing it to a developer. Like, we just found out Facebook
Hmm.
developers had access to, like, a couple million passwords that were just like open script, no
Yeah.
encryption. How do you think Google handles all those photos? There's some nerd somewhere in the back room just sifting through all of them.
Yeah. 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 I cannot say, but that would be my assumption. My
I
assumption
feel like
too.
if we could think
And
it,
and
it's
the,
happening.
And another thing, we're not just like handing over unwisely very important stuff to Google Cloud or to Dropbox, but we're also handing over our names, our birth certificates, our addresses, and the entire transaction history to third party companies to custodian services. And this is a problem. More than a that would be the case for traditional banking, because if you have a company that has 25 million accounts, that means that company has data, uh, personal data plus home addresses of Bitcoin holders, and that creates a huge potentially systemic risk, even because for Bitcoin and crypto, right?
Does
Because
Casa have any data on any of the nodes or any of the Lightning channels that are being run on a Casa?
so we are extremely privacy oriented, and we're trying to stay, of course, obviously some of the data we have to have, because if you order a Casa node, we need some address to deliver it to you.
Probably going to be
But
my
in
neighbor.
but in but in terms of doing KYC, we do not do any KYC because we do not do financial services. We provide uh, an application for key management, but we do not hold custody of any of your funds, and that is a huge benefit of Casa compared to some custodian services, because we do not do hold any of your keys. Also, we don't do KYC
Hmm.
or AML. It's
Is
totally
it
your thing. This is your tool. Use it for your own funds.
is it possible that it could be in the roadmap to go through and offer a KYC custodial service for the institutional side? You know, I know that appeals more to the retail side, no, not going through KYC, but you know, I think I was talking to Cool Wallet actually, and they were going to be doing some kind of like KYC custodial service, and just curious if that is something that could potentially be in the roadmap for Casa through 2019. No,
No,
yeah, KYC is
no.
gross. I'm with you.
It's like you know why banks have to do KYC and AML? Because they're fighting terrorism, right? Or money laundering, right? They have to do that. Do you think they want to do that? No, but they have to do that. Okay. Does it work? Did they prevent criminality and money laundering? Like
No,
this,
I think
all
Wells
these huge
Fargo
banks.
helped a lot.
So for me, KYC is basically equivalent to blanket surveillance. I don't think that we need to do blanket surveillance on innocent people, especially if we're not holding their money, right?
Mm,
And if we adopt this way of thinking and we still make the holding of your own money easy, I think that's the way, a more healthy way forward. Of course, you will have traditional institutions that will get back to the custodial approach that we had with banks, right? With banks, we would use their services among other reasons, also because they were able to protect my pile of cash. Okay, right? Because
right.
if I wanted to make
Well, and they're
my
going to
pile
make
of
money
cash
with your
safer.
money and give you some money for that too, while protecting it, right? That's like supposed to be the gimmick, right?
Yeah, I mean, there were no better alternatives before, because if you wanted to distribute the pile of cache in three piles and make them more secure, that doesn't work, right? And accessing a highly secure file of cache was also very impractical. So banks as custodial services kind of made sense. In crypto, because we have multi-sig, that completely changes the space and the conditions. And we can now distribute the signatures into different places without putting any pile of my cache at risk if I lose one or two or some of the keys. And so it does not, we have the technical features and tools to not have to use custodial services, but be perfectly safe without all the terrible technological hassle that would come if you know just wanted to build it on your own. So
Right. Yeah, you don't have to
right,
learn C++, just get a Casa.
yeah, and there will be alternatives. You know, it will be definitely hard to get all the DNA that we have and the knowledge and the approach and the service and
That's
the
true.
applications, but there will be alternatives. You know that you can go and choose there. We also have like one free version of the multisig, so you don't have to pay us anything. Just use a 2 of 3 multisig, because we really do want people to start using this. It's in my opinion something that you know we should adopt and just move to the next stage in
No, I
crypto.
totally dig it, and that's what I want to talk about the next stage as we wrap up here is, like I said earlier, I got my treasure but then I got the Finny, and now it's the treasure is built into the Finny pretty much, right? It's we've engulfed it into the technology that we have in our hand.
Mm.
Do you see it possible to have in my hand what Casa can do? Is it possible to like have my own, Bitcoin node, Lightning channel, and Casa hardware device that just slides out of the bottom, and I have a hardware wallet that slides out of the top? Or is it too far-fetched to think that we can get all that technology into something like this?
Well, you can run a Bitcoin full node on your phone already with an application. It is terribly slow and and it syncs
Well,
forever, but it's
5G is going
doable.
to fix all this, hopefully.
Like I would definitely keep the node as a separate device because it should never run out of electricity in the ideal state, and your mobile phone does,
Yep.
right? It should be online. It's a different thing. If you ask me, like, can I have all the security in my phone of those hardware wallets? Well, for example, what you have this embedded hardware wallet into a phone. I always wanted that. Oh my God, I was like designing and sketching some embedded hardware wallets or attachable hardware
Yeah, I
wallets.
had the cool wallet and I just slid it in the back of my phone. That was
Yeah,
basically how I did it
but
for a
that's
little
a
bit.
that's a credit card factor. It doesn't have the USB. It is connected through Bluetooth, I
Right.
think,
It's
right?
vulnerable.
And so, but the problem here, when you have something fixed and attached to your phone, you lose the phone, you lost the hardware wallet. It was a $1,000 hardware wallet in
That's
the
it.
end.
That's all I look at it as is $1,000 hardware wallet, and then it has the ability to make a phone call.
Yes. Okay. I don't really know how specifically this one works, so I don't want to kind of um,
Oh,
generalize.
it runs its own software, and the software can't. It doesn't communicate with the phone. So if you installed a virus on the phone, it would never communicate with
Mm-hmm.
the cold storage right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure how it runs, other than that that's how they marketed it. It's pretty much not tied to the operating system. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have a virus on your phone that's looking for key logging, you all the typing's done on this piece that slides out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very cool. No, this is exciting. I think we'll see a lot of other form factors, and we need to just make sure we have a good combination of all. Like, not put everything of, not put all your money into one phone, right?
Yeah,
Don't do that. Don't rely on that.
it's a quarter
Um,
Bitcoin. I could definitely have a quarter Bitcoin right now.
yes. Well, um, the thing is, like, every piece of electronic rots, right?
Yes.
So
So
you should
speaking of
not.
that, I want to. What's the roadmap look like for Casa, and is there anything in the more or less expensive road? Because a lot of people look at the $300 mark and don't see that as mass adoption, marketable. Do you see the a service
Mhm.
coming
Yeah.
for the more like average mainstream person?
So I'll do a quick summary of the offering of Casa and explain that we have four tiers, four price tiers, or four Casa memberships. We have the Casa Silver, which is completely free, and it comes with this Keymaster app where you can set up the mobile and the 203 multisig. And that's completely for free because we want this technology to get to the hands of people, and ideally, have a lot of users that just want to enjoy this multi-sig feature. Then we have the gold, that is $300 a year, and it comes with all the hardware that you need. I mean, hardware devices, a ledger or a Trezor, with a Casa Note, with a Faraday bag, and with Casa Recovery Service, and all this kind of stuff. And then we have Platinum and Diamond, and the difference between silver, gold, and these two is that the Platinum and Diamond have a 3 of 5 multisig, which is the ultimate security
So
setup.
so
It
does it
allows.
cost money to run that multi-sig? Is that why there's a service fee?
So we do not charge from transactions, but we do charge a yearly membership. Why? Because in the membership, we provide a lot of personalized service, and we provide all the hardware updates as well. So we expect to come up with a new version of the Node soon, and we will be providing like new hardware every time you need an update, right? So you call our CASA representative, that's your personal advisor, and you tell them, "Oh, look, I lost my treasure," and we overnight you one as a part of the membership, right? So we took a different approach because we want to constantly keep adding cool stuff, and not just cool stuff, but cool security and cool tools, right? And instead of you thinking, oh, do I get these, do I get that, you just get the one that fits your needs, and you get all the updates all your life, and you'll be happy and secure.
You're making
That's
nerd
the
money cool. Like trying to make security sound cool over here. We know we got real nerdy on you guys.
oh my
No, but I mean you are though, and that's an important role. And I personally don't own a Casa yet, but that's because I was traveling a lot. I didn't have time to appreciate it, and it is on my to-do list because I want to run a node, and I want to have my own Lightning channel, and I want to have like all my friends, use Lightning to settle the debts between each other, and it's just I want to contribute more than I take away from the network, and I feel like if I ran a node and had my own channel and I did these things that I don't know. It would just make me feel better as a Bitcoiner. And you said so the $300 yearly membership, it comes with the Casa and it comes with a hardware wallet and the Verde bag.
and the Faraday bag and the Keymaster with the 2 of 3 multi-sig. So basically,
Nice.
you'll have everything that you'll need. You're sorted. You have someone to call, someone to ask questions. It's something that our customers appreciate a lot. If we have people coming into Casa that have zero experience and zero technical understanding, but we also have customers that are heavyweights
Yeah.
that have they have had very elaborate like security setups that they were working on for weeks or months, and they have studied glacier protocol, and they have studied like all these things. But when they see that, okay, I can either keep doing that, or I can pay these guys and have everything sorted out and keep all the new hardware coming and all the updates coming, and I don't have to worry about anything, fine, I prefer that. So yeah.
Same. I mean, like depending on your Bitcoin situation, moving forward, considering that we're probably at the bottom of a bear market, if we do see another bull run with a new all-time high, it's not an expensive fee for the peace of mind at night when you're trying to go to bed and you just got done looking at a new all-time high. I know when Bitcoin was at its all-time high last bull run, I was really starting to get more concerned about my security because overnight it became a bigger pot of honey for somebody to come after. And luckily we got into the bear market before people found out where I lived. Now I'm not so much of a honey pot, but it's definitely not. I mean, I personally have probably paid more money to a bank in 1 year in maintenance fees than I would
That's what
probably pay to Casa for the year.
I wanted to point out, like, imagine how many things you buy for $200, $300. You just go on a party and the money is gone in one night. I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but investing, some money into
Well, in this
the
industry,
client.
some Bitcoiners have spent $200 to $300 on a few shitcoins. I'm sure they're embarrassed of. They could afford to put some security behind their Bitcoin. That's I I feel like we have to shame people into being more secure and accepting more personal responsibility because
Hmm.
even right now in the state that Bitcoin's in, people are still coddled when they fuck up. When they fuck up, we coddle them. Oh, I'm so sorry you lost your private key. I'm so sorry. Like, no. Like, toughen up, little soldier. Brush the dirt off. Open another wallet. Hope you don't do it again.
Yeah, well, that that's different for everyone. It works out differently. Someone learns and does not repeat the mistake, but someone, does this mistake and he never looks back. He never comes back to crypto. And then that's our fault, actually, honestly, because if we do apps that allow you too many mistakes, it's not the user's fault because it's a new technology. You can't expect them to run a Formula One, if they barely can do a small Volkswagen, right? So, but this is not their fault. It's how you design stuff, and how everything works or does not, and how everything is intuitive. Even security, that you have all these security tools, if they're not intuitive, if they're not easy, people will not do them. And well, then it's like equal to no security at
I think
all.
that's why a lot of people don't use Google 2FA. They don't understand their 2FA private key and they like lose their 2FA and they're like, I don't know how to get my like your 2FA has a private key that you're supposed to back up. So if you lost your phone, you can reset the 2FA. And that's like basic security that freaks people out, and that's, it's pretty convenient. So, I mean, last question. I got to let you go. I don't want to keep you a hostage here, but you're like a wealth of knowledge, and I really appreciate your time. But I guess as I asked, like, what's the roadmap for Casa for 2019, and what's like the elevator pitch, real quick, for the audience, and as why should they grab one now rather than wait for the next bull run before it's too late?
Oh, this was a usual question when we were launching Trezor, and people would say, "So, how many bitcoins do I need to have to justify a purchase of a $120 hardware wallet?" And I said, my answer back then was any amount, because the amount, the value that you have today may be negligible, but maybe, and I that was 2013, and I said, maybe in few years it will be 10 times as much. I was so wrong. It went from $90, right, to over 1,000, uh, just in few months. And it went to, almost, what was it? What was the all-time high? I don't even,
21,000 ish.
around 20K, right? So I was very wrong in my estimation. And back then it seemed like blown out of proportions, right? But it was not. And so, it's like in security is like insurance policy, like nobody wants it, but
Yep.
when you have it and you need it, you're so glad.
I got a phrase for you. Casa, security for your personal responsibility. Because it's personal security for personal responsibility. A lot of people are afraid to take on personal responsibility because they don't have a way to provide personal security. But that is pretty much exactly what the CASA provides. It provides a means for you to be your own personal security guard while you're being your own bank at the same time.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Like I said, I've been a big
And so,
fan of the Casa concept. I haven't gotten my hands on one yet, but I've seen like the use of it through so many people's tweets, and then the concept I kind of run with. I mean, I haven't even touched on the concept of batch transactions, but I mean, when it comes to multi-sig, the next step is batch transactions for hedge funds managers and brokers and day traders that hold multiple accounts. They're going to be trading and moving accounts for multiple people. Batch transactions is the next evolutionary stage past the ease of use, the UI around multi-sig. So I really see like a true use case for the Casa, and I mean, you even have a free option. So that's, I guess, to wrap things up, where can people go to get their hands on the Casa, and where can they find you on the internet?
they can find Casa Huddle on Twitter. They can find me as Alena Satoshi on Twitter. And definitely check out keys.casa, like the keys from your home, uh, on to see all the offerings. You can sign up today. We will be launching the 203 multi-sig anytime, like anytime, literally. So
Exciting.
exciting.
Well, congratulations on all
Thank you.
your success. You have contributed immensely to the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin, and you rightfully earned that subtitle Satoshi. So,
I hope I hope at least a very tiny contribution, but
a
working.
big tiny contribution, if any tiny at all. I mean, you're one of the, for lack of a more inclusive word, you're one of the forefathers of crypto, you know, with Treasure and what Casa now, leading the way in home personal security and multi-sig, and you deserve the pat on the back if you ever decide to give yourself one.
Thank you. I will forward the pat to my team because they are awesome and
Yeah,
they
your
do all
team
this
is
stuff.
awesome. Give them all a hug for me and tell them thank you for making mainstream adoption more accessible and more
Will do.
user friendly. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget to check it out at Casa Hado on Twitter and at Alina Satoshi. She admitted it here. She is Satoshi. She said it on the show. And if you want, if we get this video to 1 million likes, I'll give away a free casa. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the day.
Okay. Okay. Cheers.